メジャー翻訳速報。ドジャースが今季5億ドルを超える投資をし、史上最高の陣容を築き上げたことに野球ファンとして本当に驚かされています。大谷翔平選手の投手復帰時期が5月中旬に決まり、山本由伸投手、佐々木朗希投手を含めた日本人投手陣の起用法にも注目が集まっています。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーに関する現地放送局の様子を翻訳してお届けいたします。お見逃しのないよう今のうちにチャンネル登録をよろしくお願いいたします。
Pitchers and catchers, JP Morosi, can you stand it? We are right where we want to be. Good morning to you. Still a few questions to be answered. That's to be expected. Every day we go on MLB trade rumors. At the top right now is Nick Pivetta. Qualifying offer in mid-November. Now what? Good morning.
Lauren, good morning. Nick Pivetta, certainly one of the names we're still talking about a lot as the final signings will come across the finish line and spring training camps open. We talked earlier about Alex Bregman. Pivetta, the top starting pitcher, still available. I was told that there has been some progress on his contract, but there is no deal yet, nor is there one specific team to which he is certainly committed. So things remain fluid, but I'll mention a handful of teams here. The Cleveland Guardians, if they can find a way to get that number low enough to be comfortable for them, remember this, yes, he's attached to the qualifying offer, but the Guardians, as a revenue-sharing recipient, would not have to give up their first-round pick. That's a very important distinction because, Lauren, there are a number of teams that would love to get Pivetta, the Braves being another one, the Orioles, as we talked about earlier, potentially one as well, but they would have to, and certainly in the case of the Braves, you have to give up the higher pick, which creates, I think, a bit of a greater complexity for them. You talked also about the Red Sox earlier. I don't think that he is going to go back to Boston. They've made some other moves in the rotation, whether it is the trade for Crochet, the Buehler signing, and for now it appears they're much more likely to be involved in the Bregman sweepstakes or potentially a Nolan Arenado trade rather than also adding to that rotation with Pivetta coming back.
And Keith and I just looked it up. Nick Pivetta's birthday is coming up. Turns 32 on Valentine's Day. So happy birthday to him. If you could spend your birthday in one place, it would be at an international baseball event. You're laughing because you know it's true. You should go to the WBC qualifiers if you can get a ticket.
Lauren, we have got some news on the qualifiers in Taipei City, Taiwan, because I was just told this week all the games involving the host nation, Chinese Taipei, are sold out. That is a phenomenal development at the Taipei Dome. I was there in the fall in November for the Premier 12. Look at what a beautiful scene it was in Taipei City. There's the captain, Jishin Chen, who is back as the captain of the team for the WBC qualifier next week. This is a facility, a beautiful new ballpark, Lauren, of 40,000 seats. And they're all sold out. And those games, as you see it there, begin in just 10 days. A little bit of news. Sang Shang-Su, a 19-year-old, look for him to be a potential impact starting pitcher for Team Chinese Taipei. He actually pitches for the Yakult Swallows of NPB. Team Chinese Taipei taking a bit of a different roster to this event than they did the Premier 12 when they won the championship in November. They've got 4 pitchers who are either 20 years old or 19 years old, speaking of birthdays. So a younger group of starting pitchers there for Team Chinese Taipei. And by the way, one of their mainstay catchers on the team from the fall, Lyle Lynn, actually has opted out of this tournament because he just signed a minor league deal with the Athletics. So Lyle Lynn, congratulations to Lyle making the move from Taiwan back to the States.
Hey, JP, I was seeing on the graphic March 2nd through the 6th in Arizona. What is that with the WBC?
So that's the other qualifier. So I'm glad you asked, Harold. We've got 2 separate qualifying tournaments, and from each qualifying tournament, 2 teams will gain admission to the big dance. So the World Baseball Classic, the big tournament, is, of course, 1 year from next month. So the big event is March of 26. We've got 2 qualifiers, one in Taiwan and one in Arizona, coming up in the next month. So, Harold, if you thought this will be the last time I'm talking about the WBC this spring,
No, we didn't.
No chance. We'll have a lot of live updates around the clock in the coming days and weeks.
You're the best. Reporter, producer, videographer, that was your beautiful video that you shot when you were there, JP. So often we focus on the veteran guys, right? And we project out what their season is going to be. You are shining a spotlight on the youth at Rangers camp. What stands out, mid-Feb?
Yes, 1 year removed from a World Series title, and Lauren, I am going to pay very close attention this spring to Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter in Rangers camp. Both have a chance to break camp with the club because of the dynamics of their starting rotation. Remember this. They have, in this case, DeGrom, 10 2/3 innings that he pitched last year. Malley, 12 2/3 that he pitched last year. Cody Bradford, who had been a reliever on that 2023 team, 76 innings pitched. So for both Leiter and Rocker, if they're able to find a way to, especially in the case of Leiter, live in the strike zone a little more, there is a path for both of them to make this team out of camp or potentially join the rotation early on in the season because of their talent. Of course, we know well their connection going back to Vanderbilt for Rocker and Leiter. Rocker had Tommy John surgery back in May of 2023. He was able to come back and throw around 50 professional innings for him in 2024, including his MLB debut. So, Leiter and Rocker potentially together again in the big league.
You're not just reporting on youth, you're coaching it. How was your coaching debut, may I ask?
Lauren, I cannot believe the cup that I'm holding right now. Here we are, my team from the Windsor Spitfires skills competition. They actually gave me the cup. I was in Canada last night coaching Team Blue at the Windsor Spitfires skills competition, a great charitable cause there for the Soup Shack. Here we are on the ice. Somehow, Lauren, I'm in the middle of that as the coach of Team Blue. I want to thank my guys, Captain Liam Greentree, Jack Nesbitt, they're right up with them. Remo Agostino took this photo of me last night, so grazie mille to Remo. And so Liam Greentree is a first-round pick of the LA Kings. He's the captain of the Spitfires.
Fake news.
He was the captain who presented with the cup, and they actually gave it to me and said, John, you can take this home to Michigan. So believe me, as you can see there with my skating, I do not deserve to be the coach of anybody, and I want to credit the players. Luke McNamara did a great job. It was a 3-on-3 tournament. The players were handling their own line changes to a degree, but I was basically just, calculating the math. Hey, do we have 3 on the ice? Okay, 1 for 1. Let's switch. Here we go, Liam. Here we go, Jack.
Keep doing your thing, man. You're on the right trajectory,
somehow
man.
it all worked out, and we're the champions.
Harold thinks it stings, but I'm much nicer. I think it's amazing. Congratulations,
Thank you, Lord. I appreciate
Coach
it. Thank you.
Morosi. Take a nap, would you? Appreciate it.
LA Dodgers are still celebrating that World Series title with an offseason for the ages. Blake Snell is a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Great. We'll grab him from the rival Giants for 5 years and $182 million. Teoscar Hernandez, who always lights up a room and lights up a lot of balls. 3 years, 66, after he bet on himself on a 1-year deal. Hai-Sung Kim comes over. He can offer some defense and versatility. 3 years, 12.5. There's a relative chump change here for the Dodgers. Roki Sasaki, 23 years of age, throws 100 miles an hour, and as most Japanese pitchers do, throws a devastating split. This was the point where I started to lose my mind. Tanner Scott, 4 years, $72 million contract, one of the best closers in the game for what had been a great bullpen with the likes of Blake Trinan and others. And, hey, what the heck? Let's get that bullpen even better. Kirby Yates, who is one of the best closers in baseball a year ago, you get 1 year and $13 million. And then, hey, why not? Let's get Kike Hernandez, who's been so valuable and so versatile for this Dodgers team. Maybe he doesn't play everywhere, but with this team, it certainly does. He can play literally every position for this Dodgers team, and clearly he's been comfortable there, and he re-signs the Dodgers and is able to make a little more magic for this Los Angeles team. So you've got utility guys, you've got stars. I mean, look at the versatility again to this point. Kike's played third, short, second, first, left, center, right. Just no pitching and catching. All good. Mookie, 3 positions, most notably, can play second, short, or right. Chris Taylor can play a bevy of positions. Tommy Edman turned a few good months into a 5-year deal. And Miguel Rojas can also play every single position in the infield. It's amazing to think about. Are you with me? The Tanner Scott move was the one where you go, okay, I get off. Time out. This is where it's getting ridiculous. The Dodgers are signing everybody.
Yeah, and then they followed that up with Yates shortly after that. I'm just like, what's going on here? But you know what I think I really enjoy about all this is, listen, we haven't said since 1998, 99, 2000 when the Yankees went on that run.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a repeat, right? It's hard to go back to back because you're playing longer, everything that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of teams, when they win, they kind of get content. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, we'll roll it back out with the same crew.
Right.
I think injecting life. Like, you remember one year it was Scott Brocious at third for the Yankees. Then it was Charlie Hayes. It was Wade Boggs. They were always kind of moving these pieces in. And I think when you bring in other players that are a little bit hungry who weren't there, it provides that spark. And so those other guys can kind of take their time throughout the course of the season. And now you have that depth where you can really manage your roster. Like Dave Roberts has the luxury now, and he'd be the first one to admit it. Like, I got great players, and how do I give them the right amount of time off? Because all the things that come with being a champion, right? All the celebration afterwards, while you're sitting there having a parade, guys are working out in the gym, getting ready for the next season, right? They're all trying to eat the carrot that you just ate. They're chasing it now. And so I think the way they went about it is pretty spectacular. Guys want to go there for not just the money. The money's one thing. You're going to get that anywhere. It's because you're going to win. You're going to get treated in a first-class way. That was the one thing I took away from talking to those guys. So good on them for doing that. They took the opportunity, and they seized it.
The bullpen was so deep a season ago. They didn't have enough starters. No problem. The postseason, Dave Roberts worked his magic, had those guys step up. Now when I look at this bullpen, I say to myself, okay, Trinan can be a guy for me. Even with the goatee, which looks like a late 90s singer. But Michael Kopech was fantastic a season ago. Yates, as you mentioned, and then Tanner Scott. Dave Roberts says he'll get the bulk of the appearances, Tanner Scott as a closer. But what I get to your point, Dev, what a luxury. If need be, I've got Yates, Trinan, Kopech. All those guys can close.
Yeah, it's really quite incredible. And to have the lefty-righty combination, a la like Norm Charlton, Rob Dibble. You got your own nasty boys right now. Because like what managers try to do is find these pockets, right? Where do my relievers match up against a certain part of the lineup? And when you got lefty-righty, lefty, cool, Tanner Scott, you're closing today. We got righty-righty-righty. Guess what? Kopech, you got it. Or Phillips, you got it. Because you led our team in saves last year. Or we go Blake Trinan. And it gives the opportunity to kind of coast with these guys a little bit and build them up. Season starting a little bit earlier for them over in Japan. The recovery of coming back from Japan, plus all the innings that these guys logged late in the season and the high leverage pitches that they threw. So yeah, this is truly, I think the Dodgers have on paper, and kind of with your own eyes, the greatest luxury right now of 4 potential closers in their bullpen, and Dave Roberts be able to go to any one of those guys on any given night. It's incredible.
So starting pitching, they have the luxury of potentially 5 number 1 opening day starters. As you take a look at this list, Snell, who's won 2 Cy Youngs, Yamamoto, who could have won a Cy Young a season ago before he got hurt. Glass now has filthy stuff. Sasaki, 23, with lights out stuff. Gonsolin, Dustin May, little Bobby Miller, little Landon Knack. Otani likely to join the rotation in May. So I'm looking at those top 4 guys. Who starts opening day for you?
Oh, I'm going. I want. If we're in Japan,
we're
pitching in Tokyo. I want Yamamoto in there. Let's go. Imanaga, Yamamoto. Let's get the matchup. Come on. Give the Japanese fans what they want and baseball what they want, right? Like, this is great for the globalization of the game that you have these 2 studs at the top of their team's rotations to go up against each other. They matched up in September out there in LA. They both pitched masterfully out there, and to see them do this in Japan in their home country after coming over to the major leagues, I think it would be an incredible thing, a great storyline.
And kind of your point, look at Yamamoto. Was he not as sharp in the postseason? Perhaps a little bit, but still, he was a guy who was clearly effective, was able to be his best. Still a sub-1 whip, by the way, even in the postseason. Here's the thing, too, with the Dodgers regular season. Dave Roberts can be so smart with this. You're not going to see a Dodger starter, I think, throw more than 150 innings. Right? The Japanese pitchers normally only pitch once a week. So Yamamoto, he can go 6-man rotation. Kershaw, you don't have to pitch till July. Otani's not coming back till May. He'll keep all these guys fresh as much as possible come playoff time.
100%. Why wouldn't you? I mean, when you have that luxury, and in today's game where we don't, put the stress like we used to on the 200-inning benchmark. Like, I got to throw 200 innings. Yeah. Teams don't worry about that. Right. Managers don't worry about that. How can I keep my guys healthy so that when we come to the end of the season, September going into October, we're firing on all cylinders, And, like, he's got the luxury now where we were joking in the meeting, if somebody in the rotation could just go, oh, you got a cold? You feeling? We're going to give you a little break right now. We're going to slide another guy who's capable of dominating out there. So, what a super team they do have. Now, at the same time, you got to go out and play it on the field. We can write down all the players on paper, how good they are, what they did last year, and they won the World Series.
Yeah.
But everybody's gunning for them, and everybody's going to bring their best bowl, and this team will be ready for it.
Always fun to see the over-under win totals because people are saying, wait, could this Dodgers team be what?
This is incredible.
Like on paper, provided by BetMGM, you're looking at 104.5. I mean, you're talking 11 more, Dem, than the next closest team in the Yankees and the Braves. Then you got the Mets and Phillies. Again, low 90s, O's, high 80s. 104.5 is where you're starting the bidding.
Yeah, you got a lot of like classic rock stations at 104.5. You're going right there, heavy metal. They're coming for you. Listen, I'm going to bet the over. Like if me and you are saying we're going to do dinner right now, you want to do that? I'll do dinner. If they go over, you buy me
I love
dinner.
that. All right,
okay?
over with dinner, and if not,
if they go under, I'm buying.
And not like Tim Hortons. We're going to a nice, good steak.
No, really nice. Yeah, something like the Keg or something like that. You know?
I knew you wouldn't miss a beat. You're taking the over. Because my only thing is that, listen, there's injuries. And plus I think this team too, Dem, they don't feel like they need to set history, right? There's certain teams that go, hey, we want to eclipse the Mariners of 0-1 and 116. Yeah. These guys are going, we're fine, we're going to coast. We got our 100 wins, won the division, we're fine.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but remember what we talked about with their depth. So when you have depth, what do you have? You have really good players on your bench. Well, those guys are going to want to get in the game and prove themselves to play. So, you know, it's not like, oh, well, we'll rest our starters. Some of these other guys, their bench players are starters on other teams. So that's like the big thing you're going to run into is no matter who they run out there, at what position, who's on the mound, or who's coming in from the bullpen, every one of them is a bona fide Major League Baseball player and a good one at that. And they have three superstars in Otani and Freeman and Betts. And then you got a bunch of guys capable of being all-stars and superstars themselves. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this shakes out with their team. It's either going to be great and they're going back-to-back, or they're going to be sitting there at the end of the year going, how'd that happen with that team, you know, scratching their heads.
It's a good point about pride, right? For Bobby Miller, it's, this is win day. Landon Knacks come in there. Miguel Rojas, this is my time to shine. And also beefing up the front office as well. As some of our news and notes here, Alden Gonzalez, the Dodgers hiring former Giants president of baseball operations, Farhan Zaidi, as a special advisor. Zaidi will also assist owner Mark Walter on his other sports interests.
Pickleball, I think. They're really big into that. They're doubles partners. I have to double check my source.
So earlier in the show, Joel Sherman gave us his biggest question marks heading into spring. The Dodgers get their own separate list, just because. You know why. Joel Sherman, good Monday morning again to you. At the top of it is the plan for Shohei Otani. Perfect world. What does this year look like for Shohei, Joel?
Yeah, they get their own list because they'll never say it out loud, but they think they've already clinched the NL West. So they're thinking October in February and March and April. So the question is, how do you get Shohei Otani through October to be part of that rotation? And so I think there's a little track record here. He made 23 starts for the Angels in 2021 coming off of Tommy John surgery. So say you limit that to 20, thinking he's going to get other starts. That probably puts you mid-May, maybe the 1st of June at that. So I don't think you'll see him starting games in spring training. The other thing is this guy is a real habitual guy. So I think once he starts, he doesn't want to do a start and stop. And so therefore, I think, and then the question becomes, how do you rehab a guy who's in your starting lineup every day? It isn't like you could send him out on assignment. I expect to see a lot of Rancho Cucamonga Quakes coming up to Dodger Stadium. There'll be a bunch of simulated games, and they'll try to get him ready. Let's not forget that at the end of last season, the Dodgers were weighing whether to make him available as even a relief pitcher in the postseason. He was throwing 93 with a split. So they feel he's a healthy pitcher going into now, but they are slow playing this so that he's an October starting pitcher.
Come up and face Shohei. Have fun. While you're here, all the arms allow him, as you said, Joel, to kind of ease into it. Who's playing shortstop? I saw, and Robert and Harold reported, Kike Hernandez back with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Who's at short this year?
Well, Mookie Betts played 61 games there last year, kind of almost out of emergency. If you remember, Gavin Lux had some throwing issues in spring training, and Betts said, I'll do it. He wasn't real pleased with how he did it. And anybody who knows Betts, he's kind of fanatical about doing things well. I've heard he's really going at this. High schools in Los Angeles, then down to their facility in Arizona, working with Chris Woodward. Harold would probably speak to this better. The key thing being, an outfielder usually throws from one angle. He's been working on all the different throwing angles. And I heard he still has a little chip on his shoulder that as a young player soon drafted by the Red Sox, he was quickly moved off a shortstop. And all these years later would like to prove that he's a high-level shortstop.
The great ones are different, right? Mookie is amazing. You've talked with Dave Roberts extensively, and he always says his versatility allows him so much freedom. Mookie Betts, Roki. It's so interesting with Roki Sasaki because so often we hear about talent, right? And this guy's talent's off the charts. But before they do anything, how do we know it's going to translate? When you watch him, you just know with this guy, Joel?
Well, a year ago, he was being compared at the same age to Paul Skeens, and we saw what Paul Skeens did last season. So do you get something similar? The question is how to break him in. And again, I can't stress this enough with everything with the Dodgers. They are thinking about Sasaki starting games in October. How will they get there? Six-man rotation is going to be part of this. You know, they're ultimately going to have three Japanese pitchers, Sasaki, Yamamoto, and Otani, guys who are used to pitching once a week in Japan. Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin didn't even pitch last year. By the way, you know what's happening tomorrow? Dustin May is throwing a bullpen tomorrow. Tony Gonsolin on Wednesday. They're both expected to be full-go starters going into this. 134 innings for Tyler Glasnow last year, which was a career high, but then he got hurt and so didn't pitch in the postseason. And so the only kind of fully guy who they believe can go soup to nuts is Blake Snell, but he got his big money, so it's a little easy to tell him he's in a six-man rotation. Then you see these other names like Bobby Miller, Landon Knox, Justin Wroblewski. At some point, Emmett Sheehan is going to come back from Tommy John. So I doubt anyone in this rotation will throw 150 innings, including Sasaki. They are, again, it's a soft entry, thinking big picture in October.
Where's Kershaw? I don't see it. I keep thinking, is that the finishing touch for the Dodgers?
But they need more starting pitching. Yes, at some point, Lauren, he's going to sign. Today is an important day for the Dodgers. Them and the Cubs get to do this a little earlier than everybody else because they're going to play games in Tokyo to open the season in mid-March. Players could be put on the 60-day injured list starting today for the Dodgers. And if you'll notice, Enrique Hernandez announced himself that he had re-signed. It had been also slow played so that they could put guys on the 60-day IL, which allows 40-man roster spots to open up. So they have a bunch of pitchers like Emmett Sheehan, who has to go on it, River Ryan, etc., who have to go on the 60-day IL. So Hernandez signed, and I think at some point soon Kershaw will. But Kershaw had both, I think it was a foot and knee surgery in the offseason because he wants to try. He had these surgeries because he wants to try. So he is a June or July issue, but at some point soon he'll probably sign a contract and begin rehabbing officially with the team and see if he can make it back to be part of that rotation in some way.
What about at the helm, top step, Dave Roberts? I remember, Joel, right after the Dodgers won the World Series, I was talking to Freddie Freeman, and he said, I hope, that guy right there, I hope Dave Roberts gets his flowers because the way he managed the bullpen, and Freddie Freeman was so emotional talking about his skipper. What is his long-term future there?
You know what's interesting overall, Lauren, is the two World Series managers, Dave Roberts and Aaron Boone, both enter spring training as lame ducks. This is the last year of their contracts. And I think both teams are going to try to do something about that. I believe the Dodgers and Roberts began to engage more seriously last week. But, you know, Roberts is looking at someone like Craig Counsell, who got the record contract, 5 years at $40 million. And I just want to name some things that Dave Roberts has done. 9 years, 9 playoffs, 8 division titles. The year he didn't win a division title, his team won 106 games, 4 pennants, 2 championships, the 3 highest win totals in franchise history, the best winning percentage by a major league manager with 1,000 games. He probably is looking at Craig Counsell and saying, like, Craig Counsell hasn't gotten a team to the World Series. He's getting this. I think the Dodgers look at Roberts as part of the machine, but I think it's dangerous to think anyone could just manage what is now the new evil empire. The Dodgers are going to have a lot of pressure on them. There's been talk about them winning 120 games. It's championship or bust. The one thing you know is Dave Roberts could land the planes, and there would be some real mystery if the next person can. And so I wonder, for a team that's going to have between salary, payroll, and luxury tax will spend over $500 million this year. should there really be a thumb down on the manager for the difference between $1 million or $2 million to get him where he needs to go when you know he could land the planes? It will be an issue heading towards the season if this gets done.
And you manage baseball, personality, staff. It's a big-time job. Joel Sherman, how many wins do the Dodgers have this year? 105?
I think it's harder. Yeah, I think it's harder to get to that like 116, 117. But I mean, you know, like the 105 feels like a breeze for them considering the talent level. Considering they signed someone like Kike Hernandez, and it feels like an extra guy, and he's a really good baseball player.
Especially in October.
He got glasses just before the All-Star game last year, and in the second half had almost an 800 OPS. And I wonder if he's going to be much better doing it.
Joel
I
Sherman.
gotta go, Lauren. I got to get on a plane. I'm going to spring training today.
Go. I told you off.
Get out of here, Joel.
No big deal. You're making me smarter.
Hey, Joe, real quick, there's a good chance your flight's going to be delayed, so you're good.
Yes.
You're probably
clear,
good.
Joel?
I'm going to get a knapsack and walk to
There we
Florida.
go.
メジャー翻訳速報。今回の MLB の話題で特に印象的だったのはドジャースの大型補強についてです。大谷翔平選手は5月からローテーション入りの予定とのことで、球団は10月のポストシーズンに向けて慎重に調整を進めていくようです。さらに山本由伸選手、佐々木朗希選手と日本人投手3人を擁することになり、その起用法にも注目が集まります。104.5 勝という驚異的な勝利数が期待される中、デーブ・ロバーツ監督の手腕が試されることになりそうです。選手層の厚さを生かしながら、いかにして選手たちのコンディションを整えていくのか、非常に興味深いシーズンになりそうです。皆様のご意見やご感想をコメント欄にお寄せください。では次回の動画でお会いしましょう。ご視聴ありがとうございました。